All right, if we'd like, I'd like to call the government ops meeting to order tonight. I'm filling in for Brian Muldrow, who's not available. I'm here, Elaine Daly. We have Robert Shea, Mark Strong, and Ben Vitale. Let's start with a motion to approve the June 12th minutes, if we could.
Move it. Second.
Any issues or all in favor? Okay.
Aye.
There are no appointments on the agenda tonight, and basically there are 6 resolutions that we need to go through tonight. 2 from the Board of Elections, 1 related to Cayuga Community College, 2 from the County Attorney's Office, and 1 real property. We can, if we'd like, maybe get through the resolutions, and then the department heads can come up and have anything added to their report if they'd like. So I see Mr. Batman here. We have GO1, GO2. I'd like to kind of group those 2.
Bundle GO1 and GO2. Second.
Okay. They appear to be just contract extensions for funding that the Board of Elections gets, and you'll be carrying the money over that's left over. Is that correct?
That's true. Yes, the extensions. Section. Government signed them not too long ago. Yeah, that's exactly what they are.
Okay, one cybersecurity, the other shoebox, and some various other grants. All right, could we get a motion and a second for the group?
Already
We
did that.
All right, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, great. Anything else, Keith, you'd like to say, or?
No, other than the update,
Yes,
yeah, I did an email update to each of you because we did the update and I sent it off. I thought, turns out I had sent it.
Right.
But it's there, it's in my outbox or whatever, so give me that. So you can see what it's a big thing we had, of course, last month. Primary. Not surprising, the turnout was better. Local primary was not great, about 10%. Republican eligible vote, about 14%. Democrats voted.
yep,
One thing I do want to emphasize or report anyway is we started in that primary a program that allows 14-year-old high school students to act as poll workers. Generally speaking, the poll worker has to be 18, registered to vote, live in the county. This is a special program that allows the commission, the school district, and the parents for 17-year-old to act as poll workers. Our 8 students have that program. There's other students who are signed up in November. So it's a great program because it accomplishes many things. One is it provides additional poll workers for us. It's always an issue.
Yep.
Like many of us in this room, poll workers aging. And so we're always looking for younger people to kind of come along and fill in. And this is a great way to do it. It gives the students great experience. And so it helps us, it helps the students. So it's a good program. And the reason I'm mentioning it specifically is tomorrow we have a photo shoot with a citizen, and Robert Harding's going to be writing a story. So you will be seeing that in the citizen at some point in the near future. So
Great.
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, let's see. Pardon?
Are they paid for their time?
Are they paid?
Yeah.
I was wondering that too. Keith, are they paid, the students?
Yes, yeah, the regular poll workers.
Okay.
They get paid for training, they get paid for doing the work. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Sheila, I see you're on the screen. Do you have anything that you want to tell us or add?
No, I had to hit the audio button. No, everything's going fine. Amanda and I are working from home. We head up to the parks 2 or 3 times a week to pick up stuff, make copies, scan. I have to drop off stuff to the sheriff's office if I want to register any vehicles. We have auction stuff that just came through the sheriff's office. They're taking care of that. There was one vehicle that they already had the title to. So that can be sold. All other titles are in the county office buildings, so no other vehicles can be sold until we get back into the building.
Okay. Any questions for Sheila?
I do.
Mark?
Sheila, I don't see Brian Scanlon, the clerk, in the room, and I don't see him up on thing. Do you know if they're doing passports at the sheriff's office? Temporary?
I do not know if he's doing that or not.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, next, it says, Fred Westfall, County Attorney, but Rich is here, today. So you want to go through the resolutions?
Sure, just give me a second.
GO4 is to adopt the local law authorizing the sale of the property at Clinton Road in Elbridge, and we've talked about that for 1 or 2 months.
So I think Jennifer has the details on that.
Okay,
So this is a property in Onondaga County.
Yep.
The soil and water district no longer needed, so, a neighboring property owner expressed interest in it. It is a landlocked property. So the real property, county-owned real property committee met and discussed it, and we're recommending that the sale be approved.
you've had the public hearing, there was no public to be heard, this will authorize.
This month is the public hearing, and then after the public hearing is closed, then you will vote on this.
Okay. Okay.
Motion for GO4.
Second it, Mark.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. GO5 is fixing the hearing date to amend local law 5 in 2022 to correct the written legal descriptions of certain legislative districts.
Yes, we had discovered some time ago, a few months ago, that the legal descriptions as contained in the local law, that the redistricting didn't line up entirely with the map boundaries as depicted on the boundary map. So this is simply to, make the verbal adjustments so the boundaries coincide. No impact to the voters. We talked this over with Board of Elections at length to make sure it's not affecting any of the voters or the percentages that go into determining the districts.
And this is really the city of Auburn districts primarily that were
Yes.
affected by not the lines, but just the written descriptions.
Correct.
Motion for GO5, set the hearing.
Move it.
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay, I mean, this is a matter of formality. In order to make any changes, you have to have a public hearing and allow the public to be heard, correct?
That's correct. And because we're not changing the districts per se, there's no requirement for a referendum. We're not redistricting a second time. We're just
Right.
making
Okay.
editorial correction.
All right. Any further questions on GO5? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. And then, Jenny, while we're at it, GO6 is the authorization of sale of county-owned property. There are 4 different parcels in this resolution.
Correct, so these are properties that we declared as surplus last fall. And then we included them in our auction in June. So there's actually a total of 7 county-owned properties that went to auction. And as people pay in full, I will bring those forward, so the remaining 3 will come forward in August. But according to our policy, you do have to approve by 2/3 vote, the sale through auction of county-owned properties. So this is to formalize that.
Move it.
Second it, Mark.
Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay, that goes through the resolutions, except the college. Is there anyone from the college? Is Kelly there?
I am. I'm here. Good
Hi,
afternoon,
Kelly.
everyone. Do you want me to
So-
go ahead?
Yeah, so basically this is kind of 2 in 1. We're approving the 2023-24 college budget that was recommended by the Board of Trustees
Correct.
At the same time, establishing the amount of the sponsor fee that we pay as a sponsoring county.
That's correct. Yes, we are asking you to approve our $27,700,000 budget that has been approved by our board. We are also asking at this point for a 1.5% increase of your contribution, which comes to $47,538. Bringing it to a total of $3,216,713. We did, just for your record, this is including a 3% tuition increase. And we did raise a couple of the nursing fees, which hadn't been raised in over 10 years. Other than that, the fees stayed the same at this point.
Can I get a motion, a second for discussion?
I'll move it for discussion.
I'll second for discussion. I have a question after you, Mark. Go ahead.
How many students do we have or how many did we have for the fall term?
For last fall,
Yes,
we for information too, we are basing this on a FTE of 1635. We have come in actually an increase for every student. Let me just get my numbers here. So we came in, and this is all FTE because it's based on part-time, full-time, and everything in between. So for final, do you want to do 2020 here? We are talking fall of 23. Hang on, let me just add it up quick. Sorry. We had 803 FTE for fall alone.
So
Summer is our big, summer is actually very big. We came in about 7% over budget for summer.
so I want to make sure I heard this right. You estimate for the year 1,635 students?
No, this FTE. So that wouldn't be the students. That would be based on just some part-time and full-time. So that's why we don't do it per student. We do it based on FTE equivalents.
Well, I guess my issue or my concern is that I hear that the enrollment is down, not necessarily just our college, but, colleges overall. And yet, we're being asked for a 1.5% increase.
Mhm.
But if it's true, which I don't know, that's why I asked. If enrollment is down, is it the inflation that we're paying for? Why are we why are you asking for 1.5% increase?
No, I appreciate that. No, it's a fixed cost, essentially. It is the payroll, which we all, as you know as well, we have the 5 unions. They're all have contracts that we have to, we're obligated to abide by those. The benefits, the retirement, the other huge pieces, as you know, are utilities, all those costs. Those all unfortunately go up every year. So those are the things we just can't do anything with. We are at the point where we cut everything we could except for staff. And even then what we do is when we do get a vacancy, we really look at it and make sure, can we fill it part-time? Do we need to fill it? What can we do with the situation?
Madam Chair, can I get another?
Go ahead.
So I guess, you're asking for 1.5% increase from our end.
Correct.
And you raised tuition 3%, so
Correct.
4.5% is the actual increase. Am I wrong in thinking that?
Right. I mean, I will say when we started the budget process, we had to cut over $2 million. When all the budget numbers were in, we cut over actually $2.7 million. So we always obviously look at tuition as the first. So yes, we did ask for a 3% increase from the students. State contribution, that is, as you know, that is what it is. And the other piece are the fees. And we try to tend to be careful if we're raising the tuition. We don't like to raise all the fees as well, because we don't want to make it unaffordable for these students to be unable to attend here. So we did ask, we're hoping that you may be able to, and I understand completely, you're in a tight budget as well. But we're hoping that would help and keep our fund balance healthy.
If I could, just,
Sure.
you don't have to do it, obviously, I'm not gonna put you on the spot tonight, but for next month, either you or the director, give us some real numbers for the enrollment, whether we're up or down. I honestly don't know. I'm just going by what I hear.
Okay.
But I would be a lot more comfortable, supporting this if we knew the actual numbers.
Absolutely.
And I'm just talking about the numbers of enrollment.
Absolutely.
I'm not
Okay.
talking about graduating people.
You might need it before next month, because we're gonna vote on this next week.
Oh,
They can bring
Yes.
another full
if they,
Yes.
okay, if you could have it for the full edge, I guess.
Okay.
I'm sure, I hope that's not an unreasonable
No,
request.
it is not at all. Absolutely not. So you are looking for last fall, what was our actual number of full-time and part-time students?
Yes, ma'am. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you so very much.
Absolutely. That's not hard.
And Kelly, just so that I have it straight in my head, we're making a contribution as the sponsor county at a rate of 3%. Is that the case? We
It's
have a
about,
minimum-
yes, it's a third, a third, a third. Yes. So it's
Okay.
1/3 is your contribution, correct?
So based on your budget, we're giving our required contribution and nothing more.
No, right.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And that is using, I mean, I do want to add, that is also, we built this budget using our fund balance of almost $900,000. So I apologize. I didn't want anyone to think that we're not using any of our fund balance. We do realize we will have to use our fund balance as well next year.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mhm.
All right. We probably have a motion in a second. All in favor?
Aye with reservations.
I'm gonna, I can't abstain. So I will say no, but my mind can be changed at Ways and Means or the full edge. I'm gonna say no for now.
I can
So I
certainly
get
try
those numbers.
by tomorrow to get you those. I'll be here tomorrow night's meeting and I can certainly get those numbers for you for tomorrow's.
Oh, well, that'd be great.
Oh, tomorrow at Ways.
Mhm.
Okay.
If that's all right for me to vote that way.
If we can bring it to Ways, we can have further discussion and
I would feel more comfortable giving a,
no vote at this point.
yes.
Too late to table it to waste.
I think that's a legal question.
I mean, it wouldn't make sense to table it because you're gonna vote,
I'd make
you're voting it there anyway.
So we can table it till then or no?
I'm also fine if you give me like 10 minutes to look
And if you
through. If
refer
you
to
want to keep
Ways, I would say
discussing, we can come back.
Refer it.
I'd prefer to refer it to waste since we'll get the more
The
information.
discussion was refer this resolution to Ways for it to be voted on.
But it's a referral, but yes.
So I don't think you have to do it in the next 10 minutes, Kelly.
Fine.
Okay, so I'm saying I can
Rather have
certainly,
the numbers,
All right.
if it's all right. And
Okay.
she said 10 minutes, but I know we want to move on.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Refer it to Ways according to
Okay.
legal folks.
so we need to vote on that motion or just make the referral? Okay.
The refer.
All right. This will be referred to the Ways and Means meeting tomorrow, Kel.
okay, and I will be here. I will be here.
Okay.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
very
Thank you for your
much.
time, everyone.
Yep. Okay. Then we have Tom Bond with his 12-page update. Oh, all right. It feels like 12.
Yeah, so, really obviously the last month or so, our efforts have all been focused on the county office building relocation. So what I did is I kind of highlighted, high level, kind of what our department's been working on in the first section of our active projects. So I have that there for you. And the only other active project this time, because the majority of my stuff I've kind of put on ice for now,
Okay.
is our Safer Watch implementation. So months back, we did roll that out to our staff. So if there's, building emergencies or emergencies within the county that need to be related to staff, we have that in place. But this is kind of the second step for Safer Watch, and that's working with the sheriff and 911 and the chair to kind of offer it up to the community. So we kind of be doing the same type of thing. So offering like emergency information, information regarding the county office building, maybe departments relocating and things like that, where you want to get a maximum information out to our community.
And where people in the community can report something suspicious or something like that?
Exactly right. So it also has a tip reporting component to it as well. So if they see something, they can say something through this app, which is very, very useful.
And when's that, Tom, did you say? When would that be?
So actually, this Wednesday, we're going to be releasing a joint press release to the chair and the sheriff.
Okay, so that second part of this will be rolled out. All right, great. I appreciate again all the work you guys have done to get people set up, and it certainly hasn't been easy.
Tom, if you don't, can I ask?
Yes, sir.
Tom, if you had, I'm sure you probably pulled your hair out with this move. But has there been any real issues? I mean, I'm just curious.
I mean, there's issues, right? I mean, we have to jump through a lot of different hoops. The main difficulty really comes down to like the infrastructure, right? Because some departments require connection to the state, so that kind of limits where you can set up in the interim. Obviously, we have some longer term plans. I've been working with the operations team, obviously, on trying to designate where those locations may or may not be, but in a pinch, we had to make things work. That was kind of our biggest hang up, and then just trying to get folks set up with cabling infrastructure and things like that. So you kind of have to pull all our resources together. And then we have to make sure about it.
So I guess my hope is that, so I know we've had to move some folks temporarily.
Yep.
And I know you folks have done a lot of work. I mean, I'm hoping that we can, until we figure out, whatever the situation is going to be, hopefully maybe these folks can stay there. I hope. I don't think that's going to be possible, but I hate to see a lot of work on your part that only it's going to last for a month or two. Then we have to do it all again when you move for the second time. Hopefully we'll take all that into consideration when we do.
Inside of those discussions.
Thank you. That's, as long as somebody else besides me is thinking it, that's great. Thank you for your time and all the work that you and your folks do. I appreciate it.
Okay, Kevin Swab, is he?
I seen him walk
See
in.
you. Hi.
So you've got my report, standard operations going on. This weekend, we've got the Fairhaven Veteran Appreciation event. They run it up there. We just go in to tie in veterans. Over the past several years, they've had people come in from VA, but we've had more local veterans this year. And I'm trying to get involved in it more and more as a presence up there in the north. So looking forward to that this weekend. Picnic that's on here for the 3rd of August has been postponed. Trying to do something in September, commemorating 9/11, see how that plays out. That's a change on here. I'll be in the south part of the county for Fillmore Mondays on the 10th of August. And then you can see the other events that are in the far out planning. I had a meeting, I go to the Vietnam veteran meeting, we sponsor that as a lunch at Ann's Restaurant. And next year is the 50th anniversary for the end of Vietnam. And if you've never been to the Vietnam Veteran Memorial up in Brutus, between Leeds Fort Byron, I highly recommend you go and look. So working with them to have a ceremony to commemorate the 50th year of the end of Vietnam, and then have some kind of reception nearby as well. So a lot of activities going on to connect veterans. We've got a steady flow of veterans coming in and asking about benefits and resources. Any questions?
Any questions for Kevin?
Thank you for all the work
Yes,
you do.
thank you. Yep. Okay, I think we've gone through all the resolutions, and if there's no other business, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move it. Second it.
All right. Thank you. We're adjourned.
You're good.
Planning in 10 minutes. Get started. Does anybody have a problem if we turn the air conditioning off for a little while so we can hear each other?
I vote yay.
Gotta be a compromise of some sort, right?
Oh, that sounds good.
Get fast, we won't get too hot. Okay, I'd like to call it to order. We have everybody present except for Tom Winslow. First thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes from June 12th.
I'll make a motion.
Nightingale, second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. You see the appointments for Workforce Development Board. We don't have to approve that. It'll be on the full ledge meeting. Next on the agenda would be a presentation from Mike Miller from the CCIDA. Right up there would be great. While you're getting ready, Kyle,
Yes,
do you have anything important to report or a resolution?
not this month, no.
We have your report. Would you like to leave or you want to listen to Mike Miller?
I'll listen to him, then I'll go.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
I just want to give you the opportunity.
Appreciate it. I'll make it worth your while.
So good evening. Thank you for having me tonight. My name is Mike Miller. I'm the interim executive director of the Cayuga County Industrial Development Agency. For the reason I'm here this evening is to provide an overview of what the agency is, what it does. It's been around for a long time, but it's not as well known throughout Cayuga County. And part of our board really wanted to make sure that all members, including our legislative body, had better insight as to who it is, we are, and what it is we do. Next slide, please. We're going through the content this evening. I'll promise to keep this as brief but as informative as possible, is to go over what our agency is, who the staff and board members are, services we provide, the application process to attain those services, companies and industries we have supported throughout our consulting project outcomes, and what our existing pipeline looks like
This agenda.
today. Some opportunities and challenges we're noting ourselves and other ongoing projects and developments here. Next slide, please. The IDA is a public benefit corporation. It was created back in 1970 under state law, as part of general municipal law. There's IDAs throughout the entire state, almost in every county. And in some instances, there might be multiple IDAs throughout the county. Cayuga County is one of them. We have one for the county, and there's also another one for the city of Auburn. That's the Auburn Industrial Development Authority, one of the very first ones created within New York State as it is. Our mission is to actively promote, encourage, and attract development opportunities for the betterment of Cayuga County. And to boil that down, it's really about the creation and retention of well-paying jobs for the community itself in order to preserve and promote a more economically sound one. We're able to do this as we're provided legal authority to assist companies depending on their size and their project and their eligibility, certain incentives and benefits. And I'll get to that point very shortly here. Next slide, please. We have 7 board members who are appointed by the county legislature itself, all volunteers for the board themselves. It's rotating terms or reconsidered depending on where county legislative body is from time to time. We have 2 legal counsel members. First is Rick Delgado, he's our general counsel, and we also have Justin Miller, who's our transaction counsel. He's part of Harris Beach, both of which have been working with the IDA for some time now. I myself am the acting executive director, or acting secretary and treasurer. Is currently Tracy Barrier as part of MRB group right now. Again, all members are volunteers and the staff and legal counsel are appointed by the IDA board themselves. Next slide, please. So the services provided here are really boiled down to 4 different things. First is mortgage recording tax abatement. The second is a sales and use tax exemption. Third is real property tax abatement or a pilot. That's a payment in lieu of tax. Last is a tax exempt bond financing. That's something we really use as much as the aforementioned three, but still within our toolkit here. The conditions for attaining any one of these services is it always starts with, do you need our help or not? You cannot come to the IDA if you're in good financial standing to say, I would like assistance, even though you're more than financially sound. We only work with companies that say, without this project, if not but for your assistance, will we then engage with that firm there? We cannot provide any retroactive benefits. So if you're done with your project, there's nothing we can do. So we're insistent on trying to make sure companies understand before you start a project, please call us. And that's not unlike many other firms providing assistance in one size or another. Our minimum project size is $500,000, and where we begin a large project size, which would be able to take advantage of the real estate tax abatement, $150,000 and higher. Through providing these benefits and incentives, we're always looking at what are the community outcomes here? How does this help in creating new jobs, retaining existing jobs, ensuring that companies remain in the community, expand here, and ultimately are looking to attract new industry here as well. By doing all of this, it's helping to once again create a more vibrant and economically stable community here. And through these incentives, it will ultimately over time provide you tax revenue either through property taxes or discretionary spending from those folks working at those companies, including those direct, indirect, and induced jobs there themselves. Part of our evaluation, which I'll more in depth, a little more on next slide here, is we're always evaluating what is the criteria in terms of the net benefit to the community itself. And approved projects are always monitored compliance. Next slide, please. Going into the application process itself, once more, any company coming to us, it has to check that box. If not but for the IDA's assistance, can we actually move forward on this project? So we have a standard application for applicants coming in, which goes through a variety of criteria in order to achieve or attain any benefits, incentives that we have. Some highlights of what that looks like is we need to understand what's your project, what's the business plan here, what's your historic company financials, what are your sales projections, what are your employment projections, how many jobs will this retain or create, and we're evaluating all of that as we're reviewing the application itself. I'll be in contact with applicants before it's formally adopted to ensure completion. And during that process, confidentiality is of the most concern to us to ensure there's no disruption to that company's plans. But once it does come in, that becomes public. And through that formal adoption of the application, the board will consider an initial resolution to say we are accepting this application and now moving into a phase of assessment and negotiation for terms of a potential agreement there. And during this cost benefit analysis, this is where I and our attorneys will go over what exactly, really getting into the meat of it, of what does this look like for the benefits that you're asking for here, especially if it's for payment in lieu of tax, because you're taking something, all of these improvements off the tax rolls. And it's very important to us as we're negotiating on the behalf of any affected taxing jurisdictions that we're always keeping our key stakeholders in mind through that process, which goes into the next point. Once that analysis is done, it's presented to the public. So for any one project, depending on where it's located, the public hearing is held within that township there. So the town is notified. We give ample heads up to the appropriate bodies of this is the contemplated project and what the contemplated benefits to this company is there. It's here that we also very strongly encourage that company to attend and to answer questions from the public themselves. From all of that, the board really evaluates, here's our director and legal counsel's recommendation. Here's what we've heard from the public itself. We're taking a look at the cost benefit analysis, and if so approved by the board via a majority, and authorizing a resolution goes through to say, we check the box to say this project may have these benefits, and then we move on to our project closing. And from there, we go into a project monitoring phase for a dependent number of time, depending on what those benefits are there. The application process itself is wholly dependent on the size of the project. Some projects are small and they're very well prepared. It can be as little as 3 to 4 months. Other projects can take up to a year to get through the just application phase itself there. And part of that is, are they also acquiring IDA-owned land? That's something we did with Cayuga Milk Ingredients more than once now. Next slide, please. So just some examples of the companies and industry we have helped supported over time here. You'll note many familiar companies through here: Page Trucking, Cayuga Milk, Owens, Illinois, and Aurora. Just earlier this year, we assisted the Aurora in a sales and use tax agreement in the build out and reconstruction of a farmhouse within the town of Ledger, just outside the village of Aurora. Part of that would be fitted into the inn's existing portfolio of hospitality accommodations. Last year, we assisted Cayuga Milk Ingredients in their expansion project, as well as their acquisition of IDA-owned land, something we're very proud to have supported last year, to see this employer continue to grow as large as they have and in the amount of time they have done so. The year prior to that, we actually assisted Auburn Community Hospital in the build out of their new radiology and oncology center there. We're very happy to see that has now opened. And we're also looking forward to several other projects coming up here. Next slide, please. But before I move on to what some of our pipeline looks like, on this slide here, it's a bit data heavy, but this is the information we are tracking and also what we report to the state on an annual basis. And this is all public information through what we report to the state and what we post on our website as well. So just some of the notable ones I picked out for just this evening is for the Inns of Aurora, CMI, Johnson Paper, and Dunkelbeck. For CMI, this is excluding their most recent expansion project. Their initial project investment was $86 million. The goal was to create 52 jobs. Their reporting at the end of last year is they currently have 95 and a half full-time employees right now. And over the period, since their initial setup, the new property taxes collected have been over $500,000, close to 600,000. And the total payroll is $8.5 million. So this is really key information that we're looking forward to see and happy to see it as it comes along. A little bit further down here, or actually right below it, Johnson Paper, you might know, they've had actually a drop in their net full-time equivalents from when they initially started their job, their project. Part of that in discussion with them is they're still rebuilding from the COVID-19 pandemic. And while some other companies have been able to curb that with more relative ease, others are still going through that themselves here. Next slide, please. Going back over to our project pipeline here, this is a variety of industry, and this is all throughout Cayuga County. Most of it is centered around areas where there's good infrastructure in place as well as workforce. So many of the jobs we have, or companies and projects we have supported in the past, are close to centers such as the village of Wheatsport, Aurora, the town of Aurelius. They're close to those areas. Going through some of these items here, commercial retail, electrical contracting, professional services, waste disposal, and the largest one you'll point out here is renewable energy. There has been substantial interest from renewable energy companies in Cayuga County here. Again, confidentiality at the onset of these projects remains so until that formally is accepted as part of their application to the IDA. Next slide, please. Some of the opportunities and challenges we've noted throughout time here is one, Micron is the biggest one here. That's really drawn a lot of interest within the region, and as Onondaga is a neighboring county of ours, we're also getting interest as part of that. Part of what we're looking at and evaluating is how might Cayuga County take advantage of any tertiary supply chain companies to come into Cayuga County. And we, as having a great history for innovation, specifically within manufacturing, be able to help provide an avenue for growth for our county and being a part of this opportunity here. Ag and value ag is one of the largest ones that I think many here would also agree with. We just recently were named #1 ag producing county in New York State. It's really something to move from second to first recently, and even with the development over in Webster is we have plenty of developments over here. And it's not just Cayuga Milk Ingredients. The neighbor next door to them is Grover Denkovic. And we have plenty of other ag-related industry within Cayuga County here that's taking advantage of our resources and our know-how within that segment there. Again, renewables, not the most popular topic to see development in terms of solar or wind. But that being said, there is an opportunity for potential manufacturing here that's being evaluated. So it remains as a potential opportunity as we're moving forward, and the interest within Cayuga County and upstate New York is still on the rise there. Lastly is tourism. Again, with the ends of Aurora, they've been very well recognized for all the work they're doing just within that small little pocket of Cayuga County. But knowing what our Office of Tourism does and the rest of our community, it's on the rise here as well. Some of the challenges we're going through, these are probably very familiar to many of you, is site availability. Within our own IDA park, with the most recent expansion by Cayuga Milk Ingredients, we're running out of land. So we're seeking new land for development itself, but part of the issue going with that is ensuring it's close to major throughways, has available water and sewer capacity, gas is available, and power. It's quite a challenge here, but that being said, we're optimistic and evaluating opportunities as they're coming in front of us here. But other items that we know is what employers tell us themselves in terms of retaining and recruiting talent is what is your existing housing stock? What is your workforce development look like now, and how is it changing? What is childcare within the area, and what does transportation look like? That's all things that the IDA doesn't necessarily directly deal with, but something we can help pull in and point to the right areas for assistance and advocacy as necessary here. So we're going to continue working on the improvement of marketing IDA benefits to companies throughout our area here, and addressing concerns related to these employer requirements so they remain within our community here. Next slide, please. Over the last year, the IDA itself began operating independently. That being said, we're still working very closely with our local, regional, and state partners as much as possible, so nothing gets dropped here. I'm happy to say there hasn't been any disruption to our projects as they have been. The way we're able to do this is we are self-funded through our project administrative fees here. We also have a robust project pipeline to continue our operations as they are. That being said, with the developments within countywide economic development. We are very interested in working with CCDC and other partners to see how we can reimagine economic development for the county here. So we're looking forward to collaborating with everybody on that. As previously mentioned, the IDA Park is near capacity. To put a little figure to that there, our target is 100+ acres for development. Minimum is 50 acres, depending on where it is, but we're really looking for 100+ acres for new development. And that remains one of our bigger priorities as it is. Sanitary sewer line, this is Force Main project here. This is a year-long project we've been working on with the Water and Sewer Authority. The way we've been able to fund this is in part through the EDA and ESD grants. I'm very happy to say it's nearing completion. Hopefully be set next month itself, if not early September. The whole idea behind this project was to accommodate CMI's expansion as well as other tenants within the IDA park here. So that's been moving along well, and I'm very happy to see that get to the finish line here. It's again been going on for years. We're continuing to evaluate additional development within other property we own right now. We actually own roughly 60 acres next to the Finger Lakes Mall. And we're evaluating opportunities of how we may potentially develop that. And we also have interest from a couple different parties within that property itself here. So even though we're on the lookout for other property, that doesn't mean we're ignoring existing property we have right now. And lastly, I'll mention on this area here, as everyone's aware that Wells College and Village Aurora recently shut down there. It's really a challenging time for the village. That being said, it offers a somewhat unique opportunity for what could be done there. We've remained in contact with village officials, let them know we're very much in support for what they need going through this period of time. Last slide. So in summary there, even though we're not necessarily the lead economic development agency within the county, we are an important one. And many of the projects that have happened throughout Cayuga County have come to the IDA to provide that assistance. And we're always looking to do what we can to support the economic vitality of this community. The history of the projects we've worked on, as well as our existing pipeline, demonstrates the value of what those benefits and incentives can do for companies. Our board itself, along with processes we have in place for the discernment of projects, really helps us work collaboratively with those companies and within the taxing jurisdictions that we're negotiating on behalf of. So that's everything I have for you this evening. Hopefully that was brief enough for you, sir. And I'd be happy to take any questions.
Any questions from any legislators first? Otherwise, anybody from the crowd? Guess you filled all the voids.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I asked Mike to report to the committee because, we were on the course of really focusing on economic development in this county a few months ago, and then something on Genesee Street kind of like blew up in all of our faces, but we have to get back to business. We have to promote economic development in this county if we're going to continue to provide the services that we provide and everything. So I appreciate everybody taking the time to listen, and we need to focus on it again, especially once we get kind of our feet back on the ground with the county office building.
Can I ask one thing? Is there any involvement with CCIDA and Auburn IDA or their sign? I know at one point CDEC had contracts with both.
Mm-hmm.
Are you working with the IDA, or at this point they have their pilots, you have yours?
Yeah, so both IDAs have always worked separately, and CETA was the structure to help make sure, nothing was going wildly astray there. That being said, we're still in contact minimum, as Tracy Farrier is their acting director right now, and I'm in constant contact with her on
any developments we have to make sure it's also complementing, what might be on the horizon for the Auburn IGA. I'm also in contact with Jenny Haynes as well, so trying to work collaboratively. City of Auburn is part of Cayuga County and vice versa.
Right, thanks.
And Elaine, that, if it wasn't for the Cayuga County IDA, the hospital might not have gotten the help they needed either too. So,
Yes.
I'm just very proud that, we did step up and that hospital was very important to Cayuga County. Any other comments or otherwise we'll move on to the regular agenda. And thanks, Kyle. Carrie, I think you're first on the agenda.
So once again, a little bit off a report for you, but just trying to keep you up to date on everything that staff is continuing to work on. Everyone at the moment is still working 100% remote. County operations staff has been great. They're finding a location for me starting next week where I can sit in staff. Happy to report both of my vacancies that were authorized to fill in previous months have been filled. Our new planner starts this coming Monday, and then our senior GIS analyst will start a few weeks after that. I have 2 resolutions for you tonight I'm happy to go through. Before I do that, one question for the groups, just to kind of get an unofficial consensus. I mentioned last month that we have the opportunity to apply for some grant funding through NYSERDA, a total of $135,000 to do some solar and EV charging stations both here at the park and at the motor pool building. So before I tell staff full speed ahead on bringing resolutions next month, just gonna general nod, yes, you want us to do that, or?
Yeah, I personally gave her the nod from me, but if there's anybody that doesn't feel that we should move forward with the grant applications, speak up.
No, I'm good with it.
Otherwise.
Right. Really quickly, both of those, there's no match required. There may be a smidgen of out of cost to actually get it all done, but NYSERDA will cover primarily all of the equipment we need. There's a separate make ready program that will provide the electricity hookups and everything. So I'll have our staff work with Brian and Doug and Amanda to pull all of that together so we have a better picture for you by next month when we get authorization. Like I said, there's 2 resolutions.
PPW 6 and 7, they're both for grant applications. I would accept the resolution to bundle the 2. A motion.
Nightingale bundle
Second.
PPW 6 and 7.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. Thank you. Calendar.
Evening, afternoon. I'll just highlight one thing and then I have nothing to add to my report, but one of my highlights is that our summer employment program started last week. It started working. We onboarded close to 60 kids that we do in-house. We don't hire any additional staff to work with the kids, supervised visit them throughout the county. So we have placed close to 60 kids throughout Cayuga County in work sites. That's through our state funding through OTDA. We did receive an increase of funds this year, but with the increase in minimum wage and the increase in staff wages, basically it levels out. And our goal was 60 last year and it's 60 this year. And we're about on target with meeting that. So busy, it's very busy for us right now with that going on. And then the other thing that I wanted to add, and we're talking a little bit about it tonight, is Auburn Community Hospital. I've worked with them in the past with some helping HR with recruitment and filling their vacancies. They reached out to me. I met with them on July 3rd. Myself and another member of my team sat with them and their HR team to talk about, their openings and the future. I was excited and proud to see what our community hospital has done in terms of accomplishments and the strides that we're taking with the cancer center and women's health and orthopedics and more to come that they talked about. So did spend some considerable amount of time with the hospital, with the HR team, and looking at maybe coordinating a hiring event for them to fill positions. I mean, they're looking at quality doctors and nurses, of course, but also looking at it as similar to the prison. It's a city within walls. So when we talk about Auburn Community Hospital and think that it's just healthcare, we have to think about, you know, the HVAC and the maintenance and the clerical and the security and food service and everything that goes into basically a city within, just like the prison, all of their openings. So working with them and their team and my team to help fill some of the vacancies and troubleshoot their needs. They're relatively a new HR team. They've had some changes in their management. So met all of them and working with them. So that's kind of exciting for us to help out the hospital and to see like what the changes are in the community. I didn't realize, you know, some of the advancements that they've made with even technology and equipment and people. And what that means for our community is huge. So I just wanted to share that. Otherwise, I'm happy to answer any questions from my reporter.
Go ahead, Heidi.
I just want to congratulate you on the federal fiscal audit with 0 findings or recommendations. That's wonderful. Wanted to acknowledge that. I have a question, something I don't understand. The Nucor Steel Assessment Night, what are those assessment nights for Nucor?
Okay, so they're actually going on right now, today, tomorrow, and the next night. We do them pretty regularly. Basically, when Nucor wants to onboard some of their interns, they do a testing with them.
I see.
And they utilize our space because some of the other agencies will charge them. So we set them up on laptops, we staff and support them while they're doing that, just as a service, a free service to any business in the community. So we stay late and let them use our center and then just kind of work with the staff and help.
Thank you for the clarification. Thank you.
Any other questions for Kelly? Otherwise, thank you very much. We have Doug Pierce, Dan Welch, and Karen Cool. I know I told Doug he didn't have to come yesterday, but so he was going to come yesterday, but maybe tonight was a conflict. So you have his report. Karen was going to have somebody here, but they dropped off these invitations for the sound film tour, and they're sponsoring it, and all you have to do is RSVP. So you want to grab one of them? I think Carl with water and sewer, I think you're next. I did, no, Dan.
Yeah.
I really don't have more to add to my report. The one thing I would request is some time at the next public work meeting for a presentation on the Cayuga Lake Protection Plan. And also have the committee maybe ask the full legislature, we could also have some time at the full legislature meeting in August to give the same presentation.
Okay, we will stay in contact with you on that then.
Thank you, man.
Yep. Gary Duckett and Tony.
You have our report. The only thing we had to add, after this report was basically, we got involved in the car building project, and now Tony's also looking at the State Street project as far as some additional office space. And other than that, any questions for us? Yeah, we do have one resolution.
We have one resolution. PPW 1. I have a motion and a second.
Make motion?
Motion, second.
Yeah, second.
Okay, any discussion? Go ahead. Is this, just explain it a little bit, Gary. That's.
No, after Tony explain it.
There you go.
Yes.
Great transition. Great.
Right. So great, glad to be here, glad to be working with you guys. I hope to be a productive part of the new team. And so on to business. HPO, the Historic Post Office. In the attic, there's a smaller standalone air conditioner that services the third floor cooling. It's basically a self-contained unit, kind of like a large window unit would be. It's over 25 years old. It's failed. It's lost some refrigerant, and it needs to be replaced. So we're going to engineer it and build some specs, and hopefully, go out to bid with it. Any more questions?
Do you have an estimated cost?
I'm thinking not to exceed 75,000.
Any questions from legislators? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 3-1,
This is contingency, so it'll need 2/3. Is that
yeah.
the deal?
Oh, at the moment,
Yep.
failed. So we'll keep it in mind. Okay?
Motion didn't fail.
Yeah.
No, it didn't fail?
No,
carried.
that was at the counter committee level.
Oh, okay,
Right.
Yeah,
3.
yeah, we're good.
Good. See, a no is always better because then you got a yes and. So, all right, motion passed. Sorry about the confusion. After that is Doug or?
Yeah. All right. There's a lot in the report, but there's just a couple things to highlight. We had a record crowd here for the 3rd of July. Assuming the weather cooperates, that's always beneficial. The concert series is underway. We did one the week before the 3rd, and then we did one this past week. We've got a lot of pickup at those events, so they've been really popular. They've also picked up some live music programming at Sterling Nature Center. They're doing a little bit more there, and Tim's calendar is relatively full, and he's ramping up for a big fall events too. One of the vacate is this classroom because we're in right now. Other than that, I didn't have anything additional to add to the report unless there were questions on what's in the report or something else.
I don't have any questions, but you have 2 resolutions.
I do. The first one that's on there is for Colliers Engineering. I don't know where they're in, but one for Colliers Engineering is for them to do full engineering construction documents all the way through so we can bid it. That's for the replacement, which is on the west side of Doval Island. That is our primary access bridge. When we had it assessed recently, it has no documentation. It was a temporary bridge that was constructed during the construction of the seawall here at the park in 99 and 2000. So that not having any documentation with it, we can't guarantee the structure. Therefore, in order to do that, they would have a replacement. So suggest that we go to Colliers and get an estimate of what it would cost to do a full engineering design, and that would be right up until we would have construction documentation to go out to bid for replacement. The source of funding suggested for that was the $1 million of ARPA funds that we set aside in 21 for park improvements.
Motion for PPW 8.
Nightingale, move it.
Second?
A motion is second. Any discussion?
Just, it says capital H, but that's really where the $1 million went into a capital H.
Into a capital
account.
H. That
Okay.
2102 is a capital H account.
Okay.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hans? Anyone opposed? You're opposed? No, you're in favor. Either way, it passes. You're just making it difficult, aren't you?
The other resolution I have is during the pandemic in the last couple of years, we haven't had lifeguards for various reasons. We weren't able to get them. We sold off some gem cars that were from 99, 2000. That was what they used to use to move equipment down and back and forth to the beaches and also access the park property during events, things like that. They tend to use a smaller vehicle, not a truck or a car. When there's crowds, as you can imagine, it gets a little bit more difficult to move around. So we have traditionally in the past had a small vehicle for them. We were able to locate a 6-person golf cart for them to use around the property. I think it's beneficial for them to have that. We kind of took it out of the inventory a couple of years ago, and not having guards, we haven't needed it until this year. So now that we have guards back online, they're running around with boards and things like that, or borrowing trucks. So we'd really like to have something for them to be able to transit the park and be able to respond to emergencies within the park as they're required to do when on duty.
Do we have a motion for PPW 9?
I'll move it.
Nightingale, second.
Second discussion. The money's in the money's in your budget.
We had money in the budget for a small UTV, which we probably just won't do. We'll forego that in order to have this because it's a need today, right now. For
the guards around, and will be in the future too, so. That will eat into those funds. It's less than the UTVs would be, so there would be some dollars available after that.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. That was easier.
I said aye.
I didn't hear you.
Pay attention.
It's the hearing. All right. Anything else for Doug? All right. Brian, you're on.
The only thing I have to add to the report is yesterday, Friday, we got the unofficial award winners for Bridge New York. We were awarded the Vickers Street Bridge and Dunning Ave Culvert. So we've got 2 projects coming for in 2 years.
Which 2 are they again? Dunning Avenue is where?
Dunning Ave.
Yeah, but where?
Just outside the city line,
Oh, okay.
that big box culvert that's there.
Yeah.
And then North Division Street Bridge. We've been submitting that
For years.
4 years that I've been here and previously before that, so they finally funded it.
We actually had to fix a guardrail one time.
Yep.
Hey,
Yeah, they're gonna, that's a realignment too, so they're gonna take that curve out of it and straighten it when it's done. More than what it is now.
cool.
Do you apply for things and they give you what they give
Yes.
you, or?
Yes, so it's a grant, so we
But
applied.
these
for
were your 2 projects, or you had 4 altogether? I mean,
I submitted 4 bridges and 6 culverts.
and you got
2.
Okay. I mean, they do.
It's
the priority.
competitive, yes, it's competitive.
You're happy with what they awarded?
I would have rather had Phillips Road culvert, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, be happy to prove that you get some.
That's right. It's, you know, I'm just gonna shoot off the top of my head because I didn't write the numbers down before I left, but somewhere a little over about 3.5 million, so. Yeah, we don't have to spend that of local funds, so.
This is not CHIPS money, it's a
No,
it's a separate
this is
bridge.
Bridge New York.
Yes,
Yep.
okay.
Excellent.
Brian has 4 resolutions. 2 of them look like filling a highway supervisor position, correct?
Yes, those are the 2 that I met with the committee to change their retiring working foremans for changing the highway supervisor
That was my question. You're changing them from working foreman to
to highway supervisors.
highway supervisors.
Yes.
Is there a benefit for that, or what's the?
Yes. So it's cheaper to have highway supervisors because they're non-union employees. They're out of the overtime. They get straight overtime. They don't get all the extra benefits that come with the contract. That, and it's a tested position. So it's not hired, it's not promoted by seniority, it's promoted by ability.
And are they allowed to do any work, or are they purely supervisory?
All of my employees work.
Haircut and.
Yes, they do get an equipment run when we need.
Okay,
The myth that the union controls who gets to work, as long as all of my employees are working, it doesn't matter who's running equipment, including myself.
okay. How do people want to do one at a time, or you want to bundle 2 and 3?
I think bundling 2 and 3.
Hey, you want to make the motion?
A motion to bundle PPW 2 and 3.
In a second,
A second?
Stephanie, any other discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed?
Opposed.
Yeah, opposed.
Okay, so that's failed at this time. Okay, all right, okay.
And I just want to remind with my opposition that I'm waiting to make educated decisions when we get our full treasurer's report at the August 23rd legislative meeting.
I was gonna say that before we got started, that we're probably gonna be very shy on this kind of stuff for right now.
Just so we're consistent with everything.
So.
Because it failed, I'll bring them back next month. Is that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll talk, yeah. And 3 is for a motor equipment, heavy operator. So does somebody want to table that for right now instead of voting it down?
I'll motion to table it.
Motion to table
To next committee.
next committee, yeah. Do you second that, Heidi, or?
Yes.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, and the last one is chairperson, the highway superintendent signed parking agreements with various agencies.
I can motion to table this as well.
You want to table that also?
Sure.
Do we have a second?
I guess you can if you want, but.
It's no financial.
It's just-
Credits, it's.
Right.
Just parking agreements.
Oh, yes, okay, yeah. No, we won't table that. I retract.
So a motion?
I'll make a motion.
All right.
Nightingale, second.
Second,
Nightingale.
Nightingale, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carried. I heard you that time. Okay, any other for you, Brian?
Can I ask a dumb question? Do you have this because of liability?
Yes,
Okay, so.
it's for the outside agencies,
Okay,
not
so
the internals.
if they're parked in our property, then there's an issue
Scat and cabs.
that they cover the liability. Okay.
Otherwise, if there's no other business, I just want to mention, Mike Miller in his report talked about the Wells College campus, and I think there's been some indication of trying to keep it as an educational institution. And I would like the legislature to kind of consider that idea, and if there's anything that comes about, whether this legislature could support it in some way or not, I think would be valuable to the county and to the area of Aurora and the community as a whole. So keep your eyes and ears open or whatever. Other than that, go ahead.
Property available to sell, or, I mean, how would you know that?
I don't think it's for sale.
It'd be up to the approval of the state or something, whether or not.
Right now, any closure of school has to go through the Attorney General's office, probably gonna be there for at least a year.
So they're really in control of what happens to this property.
Yes. In the meantime, Wells is selling off residential properties they currently own, so those are popping up in the bill, but Wells proper itself is.
Oh, attorney, yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
Move it.
Motion and second. All in favor?